खंडहर उनका जिनका कभी जग दास और शिष्य था। These are the ruins before which the world bowed. The first and finest university which was hailed as Vishwaguru, Nalanda.
The Vishwaguru Nalanda, that was the beginning of the first organized university ever to be in the world. The universities of the world came after Nalanda. No other university had come up around that time. As Nalanda was sinking, that's when Oxford was coming up. Cambridge came much later on. Bologna came about 500 years after Nalanda was functional. After 600 years of Nalanda's growth, you find Al-Azhar, the university in Cairo.
Join me on a trip down the memory lane as I travel to Rajgir in Bihar to discover the story of the rise and fall of the world's greatest university. Knowledge and the quest for knowledge has always been the driving force for Indians. Whether it's the 21st century or the first century or even much before that. Every village, every forest and every community had its own Pathshala or Gurukul. Gurukuls were the beginning of boarding schools where students lived with the teacher or the guru till their education was complete.
We've had both the Gurukul Pratha and the monastic tradition. They had this dialogic form of education. Education was Vad directed, the glorious tradition of dialogue and debate. You know, it's interaction between teachers and students, you know, learned teachers and worthy students. And every interaction, every debate, every discussion led to a creation of new knowledge.
These Gurukuls paid attention to all-round development of the students.
The Gurus itself played a very significant role in the statecraft. You know, in the knowledge not just of character building, but you know, Shabd Vidya, we had grammar was very important, morphology, etymology was very important, defense studies was very important aspect of life, mathematics, Arthashastra, astrology, Vastu Shastra. The Vedic traditions had a number of ways of bringing out the sources of knowledge.
But learning didn't just stop after school. The ancient Indians set up education centers for higher education. The first universities of the world. And as their name and fame spread, students from around the world started heading to Indian shores. The greatest of these universities was Nalanda. At the height of its fame, the Nalanda University had over 10,000 students.
This institution started in Gupta period, Sakraditya, Kumaragupta I as we know him. He started Nalanda. The unique feature of Nalanda was that it lasted for 8 centuries. Any institution at that point of time, because at that time we had monastic tradition, we had gurukulas, these were all individual small viharas, but collectively putting together an organized institution. So that was the second most important feature of Nalanda. It was an organized institution where courses were very clearly laid out.
Educational courses focused on a vast range of subjects like science, maths, astronomy, medicine, grammar, logic, and the Vedas. The students came from far off places like China, Korea, Japan, Persia, and Turkey, traveling long distances in search of the greatest learning center of those times.
Seekers of knowledge came from across the world in quest of knowledge, and they traveled through trade route to reach to Nalanda, and they stayed for years together. You have the Chinese scholar who has left his imprints of his stay at Nalanda for over 10 years, be it Hunsang or be it I Ching. These are the scholars who have left their memoirs where they have recorded the glory of Nalanda.
For 800 years, Nalanda continued to be the world's top educational center. Many rulers and dynasties came and went, but none of them interfered in the running of the university. In fact, Nalanda received patronage from not just a host of Indian rulers, but from foreign kingdoms as well.
The patronage that came to Nalanda for the proliferation of knowledge itself is an amazing feature of this institution, because you had the Guptas, you had the Palas, you have from Central Asia there were monarchs who were contributing. Then you have from Suvarna Dvipa, you have the Shailendra king. Shailendra dynasty also contributed. The Guptas, the various Palas also brought in a unique feature that the villages around contributed for knowledge growth. So the contribution of 200 villages who paid taxes so that the monks, the seekers of knowledge who had come not just from all over India but all over Asia did not have to pay a single pie. The education was free because the surrounding villages looked after the well-being of all the monks. So that was again a very unique feature, because the endowments that came from the village, kept Nalanda University going at that point of time.
With so many scholars and gifted teachers, Nalanda amassed an unrivaled repository of knowledge. Its libraries were brimming with original manuscripts and books on every subject imaginable. Many foreign scholars, especially from China, carried away scores of these manuscripts to translate into their local languages. The glorious journey of Nalanda was brutally brought to an end when in the 12th century one of the Arab raiders, Bakhtiar Khilji, burned down and razed most of its structure. The wonderful libraries with all their knowledge trove were consigned to ashes. Fleeing residents could save only a few manuscripts. The loss to India's cultural and historical heritage was irreparable, but the world too lost one of its greatest knowledge centers.
Destruction of Nalanda by Bakhtiar Khilji was addressed to wipe out the knowledge tradition of India. By destroying Nalanda, we lost thousands of manuscripts. At that time, it was all the writings were available on palm leaves. So that's why when they burnt Nalanda down, it's believed that the libraries, the Ratna Sagara, there were 3 libraries which housed thousands of books, Ratna Sagara, Ratna Dadi and Ratna Ranjak, these were very well-known libraries. One of these libraries was supposed to be 9 stories. So imagine the kind of repository of knowledge that we had at that point of time, that it took 6 months for it to burn down.
8 centuries later, India has decided to revive the legacy of Nalanda. A new university has been constructed near the ancient ruins. Many of the Asian countries have come together to make this possible, proving how much the world valued this learning center.
Ramdhari Singh Dinkar said famously, "यह खंडहर उनका जिसका कभी जग शिष्य और दास था." अभी भी शिष्य है Nalanda के. It's been part of our collective memory. The government of India collectively, with the support of then 13 countries, later 17 countries, we have re-established. We all need to come together to share from each other, to learn from each other the glorious traditions that had brought us together all those centuries back, need to be recapitulated. We need to build a resource center so that the new generations learn about Nalanda, learn from Nalanda.